3 fateful words, paraphrased, to read, God created the world for the sake of beginnings. I feel and have always felt that the beginning of Christians and Jews United for Israel, founded, as mentioned some years ago, right here at Temple Lemon, by our relentlessly energetic May Long, joined by Fumio Taku. You should applaud them very much. Joined by Fumio Taku and his truly remarkable and superb colleagues and comrades, and supported ultimately by each of you, that the founding of CJUI was a genesis, a beginning, as remarkable as it is and continues to be auspicious. Clearly, as others have said, this award truly belongs to you. I am with no undue modesty, and I'm not unduly modest. I'm not great enough to be modest, as Golda Meir once said to a German ambassador. With undue modesty, I'm just one among many who stand for Israel, among whom are those here who have demonstrated a courage as indomitable as the light that shines out of Zion. Or Chadash al Tzion Ta'ir, B'nizkechu lanu mehira le'oro. Cause, O Lord, a new light to shine upon Zion, and may we all be worthy swiftly and decisively to strengthen and to share a portion of its radiance. These words, which many of you know are a part of Jewish daily ritual for thousands of years, so many of those years spent in exile and under oppression and worse, these words, which represent the relentless aspiration for that light, have astonishingly come to fruition against all odds. I have relatives who have fought in the war for independence against all odds in 1948, when the state of Israel was reborn. Secondly, my pride today is augmented by the firm realization that not one person in this sanctuary, no matter their religion, their color, ethnicity, background, or political persuasion, not one person here takes the marvel that is the state of Israel for granted. Not one. No one here could or would be cavalier about the meaning of 80 rockets in 24 hours this past week, including one today against Be'er Sheva, terrorizing and injuring Israeli men, women, children of Israel South, launched by Hamas against kids attempting to go to school, or their moms and dads working or picking up dinner at the market. And you know, and I point out the very obvious, that these rockets are but the tip of adversaries on all sides armed to the teeth by Iran and others, not to speak of the existential nuclear threat of Iran or Israel's demonization at the hand of so much of the world's press and more. So true. Not one person in this sacred space believes that any country in the world would tolerate one rocket attack, much less thousands over many years, upon its citizens. Operation Cast Lead notwithstanding, no entity on the face of this globe would act with the superhuman restraint of Israel in facing such ruthless bombardment. Consider Turkey's rage when one errant Syrian shell landed on its territory and its inhabitants. Not one soul present here today is under any illusions about Israel's neighbors, the Arab world, the so-called Arab Spring, virulent European anti-Semitism. Take a look at the Sunday Weekend Review in the New York Times about what's happening in France. Not one of us is deluded, nor is there a single attendee who does not acknowledge, as has been mentioned today, that Israel is desperate for peace. If only, as mentioned, she had a legitimate partner who would recognize A, that she has a right to breathe, and B, that she is a Jewish state capable of blessing the entire Middle East, as she has blessed people here and all over the world, people of goodwill, with her medical, high-tech, scientific, military, literary, and entrepreneurial brilliance, all astounding in the face of all that we are familiar with in terms of her challenges. In conclusion, and Caroline, if you had not appeared, I would have spoken another point. But I'm glad you're here. Fulvio timed some kind of a phone call from you. It's one of the best theatrical moves I've seen in years. He is brilliant. In conclusion, and speaking to each of you who have really earned this award, which I really accept only on your behalf, I note the following. In the late 1920s or early 30s, the world-renowned saint, scholar, and moralist, who was known as the Chafetz Chaim, one who desires life. His real name was Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kogen. Meir Kogen was born in Belarus in 1838 and died in Poland in 1933. He received a documented letter, it's recorded, from a Jewish soldier who had been drafted into the Polish army, assigned to a remote base with no Jewish soldiers, and of course, no religious services, no kosher food, no chance to observe the Sabbath or any of the mitzvot, the commandment by which this young man had lived punctiliously. And he wrote a very simple question to the sage. He said, how do I survive as an observant Jew in this forsaken place? The reply addresses us, each of us, CJUI, and all who rise with us. This is the reply verbatim. Don't be discouraged, for even unable as you are to observe Jewishly in any regard, there is one thing you can and must do. In a free moment, even for a few seconds, speaking to God, face east. Why east? Because you will be directing your thoughts and spirit to Jerusalem. In so doing, and again I cite verbatim this response, you will overcome the desolation, the isolation, the spiritual barrenness from which you are suffering. In so doing, you will reunite with your people and your God. Face east, face Jerusalem. And the final words, whenever a Jew faces Jerusalem, he or she is in Jerusalem. You may not be in Jerusalem, but Jerusalem is always in you. And I suggest to each of you of all faiths, which is one of the great beauties of this organization, I suggest the accurate application of these words in 2012. Whether or not you are literally in Jerusalem, or will be, or whatever your travel plans, past, present, or future, whether or not you stand among her golden-hued stones, by being here in common cause with CJUR and with people like Fumio Tako, our honorees, May Long, Joe Green, and so many others, by being here, Jerusalem is and always will be in you. I accept this Genesis Award and confer upon you the Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy prize. Honored as I am, genuinely honored to be in your presence. May God bless you, as will Israel, for always facing east, as Americans and as people of religious conviction, facing Jerusalem, and thereby carrying her as the eternal capital of an eternal people. Ultimately, for the state of Israel, friends like you are among her greatest treasures.